All right. So, do a quick video here. Some of you are wondering what this is. So this is called Ditra mat. You may have seen it on TV if you watch this guy, Holmes on Holmes. He was kind of one of the original people touting it, but I'm not using this because he says to use it. I'm using this because this is actually a really good uncoupling and waterproofing membrane. An uncoupling membrane basically allows the subfloor, which is a wood product, which expands and contracts, to move somewhat independently of your tile. So when you lay tile on top of wood, the wood's gonna move underneath. And what happens is eventually when that wood expands and contracts, although this is OSB, so it's a little bit more stable. OSB is oriented strand board. What it can do is actually eventually break loose the bond of the thin set, which is the mortar underneath your tiles, break loose that bond from the subfloor, and you get hollow spots and you get cracks and whatnot. Now, most of the time when cracks occur in tile, it's because of deflection in the floor, because the thickness of the subfloor and the distance between the joists is too much, and there's deflection that happens. So the floor wants to move in and out like this when you step on it, and that actually breaks the bond of the tile and eventually cracks tiles. That's why a lot of tile floors crack, because they don't have an adequate substrate underneath. So what this does is an uncoupling membrane. So right here you see this, there's like a felt. There's a felt impregnated on this surface, and then if you can see here, there's little like grooves in here, and the mortar, so the tile goes on this side, on the top side where the waffle pattern is, and the mortar keys into that. There's like kind of an angled, it's an angled back, and then the felt here, the mortar bonds with the felt. So we're gonna spread a layer of thin set on the floor, and we're gonna lay this on top of the thin set. And what that's gonna actually do is bond this to the subfloor. This also gives us a smaller height, so that's only about 1/8 of an inch thick, versus before this floor had a 1/4 inch Durarock on it. There's hardy board and there's Durarock. This floor had Durarock on it. It came up all very easily because the installer who did this did not mortar down the Durarock to the subfloor, and they also only nailed it down with smooth shank roofing nails, which means like it just came right up. Like the Durarock just came right up with the tile and everything attached, which is no bueno, like not good. It was an improper install, which is pretty typical in a lot of residential construction, a lot of remodeling. Installers think they know how to install tile, and they don't install it properly, which makes great for demo, because it makes demo really easy. We literally demoed up this entire floor in like an hour, tops. So anyways, you can see where I sanded it. I've been spraying these cabinets, so I sanded it. Yeah, I got a little overspray, but that's fine. It actually just rubs right off with your finger. So I sanded it, scuffed it up a little bit so that the thin set would bond better. Another thing that also happened here is there was actually some water staining around on the subfloor here, because what you should really do is when you're setting a tile floor, you should set your toilet flange here on top of the tile. And in this case, they set this toilet flange before they tiled, so the tile was flush with the edge of this. And they were just relying on the seal of the wax ring, and sometimes the wax ring may leak a little bit. So what I'm going to actually do is, once I tile, they make flange extensions that stack up on top of this. So I'm going to go ahead and tile up to the edge of this, because I can't remove this. It's glued down. It's in there. But there's an extension. I'll go buy an extension and actually silicone it and screw it to the top of this flange. And then what that'll do is give me a little bit higher height, where there's a little horn on the bottom of the toilet, and it'll sit down below the edge of this, because what happened before is that horn actually sat above the edge of this, and you were just relying on the wax ring to seal it, and it leaked a little bit, and there was a little bit of water on the floor that had gotten underneath and gotten on the tile, which is not good. Another sort of inferior installation happens all the time, because builders and remodelers are trying to cut corners, and they hire these subcontractors that can install a toilet, quote unquote, install a toilet or whatever, and they just do a kind of halfway job because they're just there to do a job and move on with life. They don't actually care about the finished product. So, and you're wondering why I oversprayed all that. I hate these stupid little prefab white plastic, and you have to pop those out. So I'm actually going to cut that piece of PEX off coming out of the wall. I'm going to put an actual like chrome quarter turn valve on there with a stainless line. I hate these things. I hate them with a passion. They're cheap. Again, they're cheap. They just put them in because they're cheap. And I don't like them, and they're a pain in the butt. They get stuck. You can't turn the water off because you have to pull that valve out to get it to turn off. I hate that valve. So getting rid of that, and I'm going to cut that off, and so it'll look nice. It'll be a nice stainless one. Then we're doing some trim in here, so we're going to do some board and batten wainscoting in here. We got a marble top going on this. We want this like sort of green color on here. So the next step here is we're going to go put some thin set down on this floor, and I'm going to put the Ditra down. Before I do that, though, I'm actually going to dry fit all this Ditra mat. I'm going to measure it and cut it into the pieces so it's all ready to go. So when I put my thin set down, literally I'm just setting the piece down. I'm going to have it go ahead and have it cut out for the toilet flange and all that stuff. It's all going to be set up and ready to go. So all of